Hello everyone, I'm Himanshu. I'm a software engineer at GeekyAnts. I've built a lot of things here. Thanks for the introduction, Yashasvi. So I think you already know a bit about me. Uh, and there's my Twitter handle, but I don't post anything there. But everybody adds that, so it's there. So today I'm going to talk about the need for better app builders. But don't get me wrong, I won't just plainly criticize the existing tools. I want to mainly talk about how I think we can increase the adoption of low code app builders. So let's get into it. So, app builders have come a long way. I think we can agree with that. If not, like I have some data here. So this is the data by Zapier from March 2022, and this data tells which users started using no-code tools. Like when the user started using no-code tools. So this is divided in like different time zones. Like 1 to 2 years ago, 30% people started using no-code tools. So what this data essentially tells you is that over 50% of no-code users started in the last year itself. So that tells you the growth that has been going on in this space, right? Now this data is for no-code tools, but I would say like this is correlated with app builders in general. App builders, you can consider those as a subset of general low-code tools. Low-code tools can be in any domain like automation, backend, everything. But yeah, I'm going to mostly talk about app builders here. So, what do we use app builders for? Or what do we build with these app builders? So, first, I think it is personal projects or like just small hobby projects that you want to experiment with. If you want to learn a new tool, you just create something like a to-do app, right? And if you have any kind of personal app that you want to build just to try things out, you build those. Then you build tools for small businesses. So for a small business, when it's not really feasible to hire a developer, like have a whole development team, you can use these tools to quickly get started, quickly just build your app and deploy that, right? And then we have internal apps. So nowadays we have a lot of tools which are really helpful to build internal apps for companies. So a lot of companies, they have some data in like spreadsheets or Airtable. Airtable is also a low-code tool for like databases, you can say. So a lot of companies have that kind of data. Now they maybe just want to have internal dashboards which visualize that data, or like lets you manipulate that data. So no code tools are very good for these kind of use cases. One example I can think of is Glide. It lets you work with spreadsheet and Airtable and just build your apps with that data. It provides you nice visualizations on top of that. And for complex apps for which maybe using low code tools or like app builders is not very feasible, for those kind of apps, at least you can get a head start using app builders. Especially if you think about low code app builders, they provide you, like Sankit gave an example of BuilderX. So those kind of tools where you can design visually and get code output, and then it can go through normal development workflow. So that reduces the development time. So that can help you going faster. Next is like just to build MVP or something like a proof of concept, right? So these are the things that you can use app builders for, right? But when do we not use app builders? Right? What's stopping us from using app builders? So first point I can think of is like with existing apps which are hand coded. Now we have to use this new term called hand coded because we have no code, low code now. So yeah, if you have those existing apps, I don't uh, see a good amount of tools which work with existing apps like this. And yeah, consumer apps are getting more complex day by day. We have a lot more specific UX requirements, complex interactions, some specific business logic requirements, which might not be feasible with the current app builders that we have. So for those, we still might use a normal development workflow. And another point is design systems. So design systems have design guidelines, design tokens, which are shared across multiple apps, platforms. It has component libraries. So we don't want our app builders to be disconnected from design systems. So that's a very important point, I think, because right now we are seeing a lot of adoption of design systems. So if the current tools, if the current app builders don't integrate well with design systems, it's very hard to have this in our regular workflow, you can say, right? So to understand more about this problem and like how we can overcome this challenge of better adoption, let's understand what types of app builders we have. So the first type I can think of is the app builders which have their own language. These can be both no code and low code. So by their own language, what I mean is they have their own way of defining the UI, creating the UI, or like defining the data models, or just creating interactions or data flow, things like that, right? So they have their own way of doing things. So people have to have specific skill sets for specifically for these tools. They have to learn how these tools work, how you define, let's say, business logic in these tools. So that's a very specific thing. And these are not suited for existing workflows, you can say, because then you'll have to hire people specifically who are experienced with these tools. One example of this is bubble.io. So this is a very good tool. It lets you build apps, but then again, what I'm saying is it has its own way of defining workflow, as you can see in this screenshot. So yeah, it has its own plugin system. So there's a way of using it. Right? Another type of app builders, you can say, are the ones which work with existing languages or frameworks. These are typically low-code app builders. And you can say these are mostly used by developers because they give you code, or they give you some ability to edit code. So this will be mostly used by developers. But in this case, designers and developers use different tools. Why I say this is these kind of tools are not very uh, easy to use for designers. They are not designer friendly, you can say. Uh, Designers are used to working with design tools like Figma. Uh, but still, these kind of app builders can still be integrated with the existing workflow, right? Designers provide designs in Figma, and then those designs are translated into apps in using these tools by maybe developers or anyone who is used to like who works with these tools, right? So yeah, I think that's the overall. Okay. Yeah, one example of this is clutch.io. So you can create your UI using this tool, and then it gives you React code. As you can see in the screenshot, it opens up the code for this specific screen, and you can export this and then continue your normal workflow. So, what are the challenges in further adoption of app builders? These are just like challenges that I'm summing up from what I've presented earlier. First is integration with design systems, then disconnect between designers and developers. As I said, like designers can't really use these tools directly without like learning. I'm not saying they can't use it. They have to learn first. It's not in their skill set currently, you can say, right? And then uh, one more challenge is they don't work with existing code bases, and maybe they can't build complex apps right now. So there might be more challenges, but overall, and yeah, we are fixing these challenges one by one, right? The community is going towards it. But I would say, like, even if the first two challenges are solved, I would want like my team to use an app builder, I can say. If we have a proper integration with design systems, if we remove the disconnect between designers and developers, I think that's a pretty good start to adopting app builders into our current workflows. Okay, so we built this at one point. Uh, BuilderX, I think Sanket now already presented it, so you know. Um, but yeah, we learned a lot from building this. Mostly like not what to do, I would say. BuilderX didn't work with a design system. At that point, I don't think we had a wider adoption. And we didn't really know who we were making this tool for. Uh, so designers didn't want to switch from their existing tools. So they didn't want to go to BuilderX because they were already happy with their own tools, right? And the code that was generated, we can say like that wasn't very usable. It was good code. I won't say it was bad, but developers still weren't satisfied with the code that was being generated. And one reason for that was like the absence of design systems, right? Uh, so yeah, that was about it. So now we can discuss possible solutions. One again, these are like simply for the challenges that I listed earlier. Naturally, these must be the solutions, right? Make it work with design systems, make a tool which works with design systems, that the tool that is easier for designers to work with, and that provides a smooth handoff to developers, right? So it comes up that creating a tool like that, uh, just that point where we say make it easier for designers, it for that we need to add a lot of things, and that's really hard. We have tried, believe me. So what if we use existing design tool, Figma? Designers already love Figma, right? And Figma supports component libraries and design systems already, right? So what we can do is maybe generate Figma component library from your code library. Let's say you have a repository of components on the code side. Let's say you have a React storybook where you have to find all your components. So if we could maybe bring it over to Figma as a component library, and designers use the same components to build designs, and developers use the same components for building like their apps, for writing code, that might work. And Figma supports plugins, so we can also have a Figma plugin that will uh, uh, maybe just generate code from the Figma designs. Because right, if we are generating our component library from storybook, so that is already kind of connected with the code. Now it will be slightly easier for generating code from those designs, the designs that were built using this component library, right? So if we have this thing, maybe we can use Figma for like an app builder, you can say. And if again, if this is not possible, then maybe we'll have to export from Figma to another app builder tool to add things like business logic and anything else. right? But as a start, I think we are removing one barrier where designers have to anyway create designs in Figma, and then developers have to translate those designs. So this challenge is solved here in this case, I would say. So you might be thinking this then, but yeah, I think we still have a few things here. We still have some challenges. Like, what if there are design iterations? What if we have to go back to Figma and then redo the designs? Will it integrate smoothly with the apps? Basically, the deployed app, or like the code. And do we still give that much design freedom? Uh, so if I elaborate on this point, designers love their freedom. Like they just draw things on the screen, and whenever they're happy, like they'll move around things there. So that's absolute positioning. If you talk about the layouting part, and now we have auto layout in Figma, uh, but let's be honest, like designers don't use that everywhere. Most of the elements are absolutely positioned. But yeah, that makes sense. Designers need their freedom. So we'll have to think of some trade-off here, right? And the next one is responsive design. It would be hard to define responsive designs in Figma. But as I said, Figma has plugins, so maybe we can think of some way to handle responsiveness from there. And designers themselves have responsive designs which translate to responsive apps. So I would say let's do it. I think we will see a lot of innovative solutions in the future. The community is growing. Uh, we we are seeing a rapid growth in number of app builders. So I'm positive and excited for it, and I hope you all are too. Thank you.